Hello, everyone. This is Jesse Suter. I'm the Executive Director of the Center on Disability and Community Inclusion. And the purpose of this video is to give a walkthrough of our upcoming Community Advisory Council meeting on March 19th, 2025. So you can follow along with me by looking at the agenda, or you can just listen. So the meeting is going to be held on March 19th, 2025 from 12 to 3 p.m. And you're welcome to join the meeting in person here at our offices at the Center on Disability and Community Inclusion. We're in Burlington, Vermont. And what I ask is that if you want to come in person, please just send me an email or give me a call by March 18th. That's the day before the meeting. My telephone number is 802-656-1130, or you can email me at Suter, JSUTER @uvm.edu. You can also join the meeting on Zoom, and that works as well, and the link is in the agenda. So there's a few documents that we're going to use for this meeting. So the first is the agenda for the meeting. The second is the draft minutes from our last meeting, which was in December. A big part of the meeting on Wednesday, the March 19th, is to get your feedback on our website. So there's a handout related to that. There's also a recent letter from me as the director about our federal funding. There's also another document that I sent to just folks internally at the center related to the Developmental Disabilities Act. And then there's also a couple of longstanding documents that you might want to take a look at. One is our just overall plan for the year for 2024 to 2025. We went over this back in September. And then finally, there's our Community Advisory Council group agreement, which tells us how we need to behave and treat each other during meetings. Okay, so the first page of the agenda gives a summary of just the times for the different agenda items. Right now, I'm just going to jump to the detail agenda so you know what to expect. So at noon, we're going to start with a welcome. Please join on time. We need to make sure that we've got a quorum, which is most of the members joining in order to officially start. We're going to ask people to introduce themselves with their name or pronoun. And if you'd like, you're invited to share a couple of things that you hope to do on the council for the remainder of the year. We'll then have a vote to see if everyone approves the minutes from the December meeting. So that's why we want folks to take a look at the draft minutes from the December meeting. At 12:20, we're going to look at the agenda for the March meeting together. Broadly, we're going to focus on talking about recent updates at the center, and then a couple of topics that we didn't get a chance to cover back in December, which is talking about our teaching and research. And then most of the meeting, about half of it is going to be spent, or about a third of it is going to be spent focusing on our new center website. We're very excited about it. Audrey has put in a ton of work, trying to get a lot of feedback creating it. But now that it's out there, we want to spend some time getting your feedback and making sure that it is useful and accessible. At 12:30, I'll start to share some updates from the center. And broadly speaking, I want to share the news that a couple of our state projects supporting adults are ending. So we'll talk more about that. We've also been sending more updates connected to the new administration in Washington, D.C., because there's been many questions and concerns have been raised. So from the center, we're trying to let people know what's going on and what it means for us at the center, but also for people that we work with. So back in February, I sent a public letter and video out. Hopefully all of you received it as members of our council, but there's a link to it in the agenda in case you haven't. And then internally, I sent a memo to people at the center to remind them about some of our responsibilities at the center. And they come from the federal government because there's a federal law that says there should be centers like ours in every state and tells us more about our responsibilities. So as one of the documents for this CAC meeting is that summary of the Developmental Disabilities Act that I wrote. I also want to know from you as our council members, are there any future updates that you think we should send as a center? So maybe on other topics. I think we're going to need to do this more and more as questions and concerns continue. The last update I just wanted to share is that we have requested continued funding for next year, and that starts for us in July 2025. So after that, I said we were going to get to two agenda topics that we didn't have a chance to talk about in December. The first is our teaching, and there's two goals that we had this year that we wanted to highlight. One is creating a smaller version of our graduate certificate on disability studies. And right now, we're very invested in how can we connect with people who might be interested in taking it. The second goal that we wanted to talk about in the meeting is how can we better support students with disabilities at the university? And that's right now we're waiting a bit to hear from this new Office of Accessibility Services on campus. They're supposed to be hiring 2 people to help them support students, and we want to make sure that we're working with them. So that's really just a quick update, but you might have questions about it. The second topic that we didn't get to in the December meeting was to talk a little bit about our research, and in particular, 2 grants that we'd like to apply for this year. One is to create an autism research consortium at the University of Vermont. And our hope is that this would take our existing project, the UVM Autism Collaborative, and help it have more resources to work with autistic individuals and families and professionals, and really generate more research to improve the lives of autistic individuals, not just in Vermont, but around the world. So some of the questions for you, is this something that you're interested in learning more about? Because there's separate conversations going on. And then a second research grant that we'd like to apply for this year is to really understand how college programs like ours, but how they work all around the country. So we've got one here that Brian Dagg is the director of, but there's hundreds around the country. So how do they work? How do they really improve the lives of people with disabilities who are in those programs? We're going to take a break for 15 minutes, and then after that, we're going to get back to our biggest topic, which is CDCI website feedback. So CDCI does have a new website. It's out there. You can check it out if you haven't already. And Audrey is very interested in getting your feedback and getting feedback from other groups to make the website more useful and accessible. So during the CAC meeting, Audrey's going to ask you, our council members, 4 questions. So we'll look at the website some, but then we'll answer these questions. What's one word that you'd use to describe the new website? Looking at the website, what are you most likely to click on first? What stands out to you? Also thinking about the website, what's one feature you wish we would add to this website? And then the last question is, do you have any suggestions for how we can improve this website overall? Now, there's an important note here. We usually don't record our CAC meetings, but we are planning to record this portion of the meeting. The recording will only be used to create a transcript of the discussion. A transcript is just an exact text of what was said during the meeting. We're the only people that are going to look at this, only people at CDCI. And then once we have all of your exact feedback written down, we're going to destroy the recording. But I want to let you know that ahead of time. After that, we're going to wrap up the meeting by just talking about how it went. If there's any members of the public that join us, they're welcome to make any brief statements. And then we also want to hear from you as the council members. How did the meeting go today? What should we change or do for our next meeting, which will be in June? And then at 3 p.m., the meeting will be over. So thanks for watching this video. I'm so excited to see you next Wednesday. I hope this finds you well, and we'll see you soon. Be well.